Hello viewers, today we'll talk about the character list of A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. In my previous video, we have already discussed about the summary, about the author and about the novel. So today we'll go to the characterization, and in my next video, we'll discuss about the themes. Anyway, coming to the character list, first, let us discuss about Charles Darnay. He was a French aristocrat by birth, Saint Evremont. He lives in England, rejected the French social system. He was honest, bold, compassionate. He marries Lucie Manette. He was drawn back to revolutionary France by the appeal of a former servant. He was captured and sentenced to death, but saved by his rival suitor. So Charles Darnay, I have written here very short, but I'll explain it more. Anyway, Charles Darnay, he is the nephew, okay? He is the nephew and heir of Marquis Saint Evremont, but he was a simple man, he was honest, he was bold, he rejected or he renounced this French social system because he did not believe in that ancient regime. He was a compassionate man, so he tries to help everyone who is in trouble, At one time when he was trying to help a woman that his family had injured, okay, he was arrested as a spy and then he was placed on trial, and during that time he met Lucie Manette, and he falls in love with Lucie Manette, and on the other hand Lucie Manette also feels the same, so the two of them got married. Then again, when they were trying to live happily, something was happening again. He was drawn back to revolutionary France by the appeal of a former servant. Means his former servant, okay, he was arrested, and he was caught in the year 1792 in France, and he has sent message to Charles Darnay for his urgent return in France, okay, and during that time, to put in a short, he was again arrested and then he was sentenced to death, but then he was saved by his rival suitor, that is Sidney Carton. So one thing we have to know about Charles Darnay is that though he is a passive character, he has his own flaw. Here the writer or the author is trying to show us that in the character of Charles Darnay, that he is incapable of doing something important, because whenever he tries to help someone, okay, his arrest always takes place. See, for example, like when he was trying to help a woman who was injured by his family, he was arrested as a spy, and again the second time when he was trying to help his former servant, there again in France, he was arrested. So both his arrest takes place while he was in the process of trying to help them. So he is incapable of doing something which he is committed to, okay, something which is important. And Charles Darnay, though he is the protagonist in the novel, his character is very passive, okay. He is passive. Some critics even believe that Charles Darnay is a version of Charles Dickens, because even the character Charles Darnay shares the same initial as Charles Dickens, CD, Charles Darnay, Charles Dickens. Anyway, now coming to the next character, Sidney Carton. Sidney Carton, he is bright but moody, he is insolent, he is indifferent, an alcoholic attorney who works with Stryver, a man without any real prospects in life and doesn't seem to be in pursuit of any. Unable to win the heart of the woman he loves, he leads a life of slovenly despair, but he transforms himself into a man of profound merit by sacrificing his life so that Lucie's husband, Charles Darnay, might live. Sidney Carton, okay, Sidney Carton, he was a very dissipated English lawyer. He spends a great deal of his life drunk. He was an alcoholic. Although he was bright and brilliant, most of the time, because of his addiction in alcohol, it keeps him from becoming a successful lawyer, okay. His character is introduced during Charles Darnay's trial for espionage. Then that time he also met Lucie Manette. He falls in love, but then what happened was that he was unable to win the heart of the woman he loves. That's why after he was rejected by Lucie Manette, he leads a life of slovenly despair, okay. He thinks that his life has no meaning at all, and then he thinks that he lives life hopelessly, but then again at the end of the novel he was transformed into a sacrificing hero. Okay, his character turns from zero to hero, because of Lucy. Okay, and he even replaced the death of Charles Darnay at the guillotine. So what we can know about Sidney Carton character is that he has this devotion to Lucy, and his devotion to Lucy is one of the major factor for his decision to take Charles Darnay place to die in 1793. Anyway, his character is difficult for the reader to understand because we know nothing about his past, about his life, why he stayed or what could have kept him single in his 40s. But we know that he has weakness for alcohol, and during Victorian times, that is during Victorian era, this alcohol addiction is not regarded as a disease. It was regarded as a character flaw here. Charles Dickens is trying to portray Sidney Carton as a character who has a flaw in it, but at the end of the novel, he surpasses all other characters because he was like Christ-like figure, because he died in the place of Charles Darnay. In order to save Darnay's family, he gave up his life. So he died in the name of freedom. He died in the name of brotherhood. That is about Sidney Carton. Now coming to Dr. Alexander Mannet. He is the father of Lucy's father, a decent and competent French doctor, and imprisoned in the Bastille for 18 years, a kind and loving father to Lucy. He learns the craft of shoemaking and distracts himself from the tortures of prison. When Darnay was arrested during the French Revolution, Dr. Mannet stood as his witness, and he was proved innocent, but later on he was arrested again for his uncle's sin. Dr. Mannet is an embodiment for suffering and forgiveness. Now, Dr. Alexander Mannet, okay, he is one of the central character, and he is Lucy's father. He was a doctor, he was a physician, he was a doctor, but he was imprisoned in Bastille for 18 years, not because of something which he has committed, but because because of Charles Darnay's uncle, who fears that Alexander Mannet might ratted him out because of him doing bad things. Okay, instead of Marquis putting in under and behind the bars, Alexander Mannet was kept behind the bar for 18 years, and it's not easy for someone to forget all these 18 years, right? But then again, when he learns that Charles Darnay belongs to this his enemy, that is Saint Marquis Evremonte's family, it was very shocking news for Dr. Alexander Mannet. However, as he was a kind man, on humanity level also, when we looked at it, it's very difficult for Dr. Mannet to forgive him. However, he forgives him. Okay, later on, when he was released from prison, even after that also, sometimes he used to collapse, and he used to collapse, and he used to start mending shoes and all. He thinks that he's a cobbler, which he learns the craft of shoemaking to distract himself from the tortures of prison while he was staying in prison. So from time to time, when he's put under pressure, Dr. Mannet always falls back to mending and stitching shoes. And this is all because of who? Because of Charles Darnay's uncle. Okay, because of him, he was put behind bars for 18 years, and then his sanity used to reassert itself whenever he's put under pressure. However, under the sweet care of his daughter Lucy, he regained his health, and Alexander Mannet, his character also can be studied as a symbol for suffering and for forgiveness. Suffering because he stayed for 18 years and he suffers behind the bars, and he's a symbol for forgiveness because he could forgive his son-in-law Charles Darnay. Okay, so he is an embodiment of suffering and forgiveness. Now coming to Lucy Mannet. Lucy Mannet is the wife of Charles Darnay, a young French woman who grew up in England, who was raised as a ward of Tellson's Bank because her parents were assumed dead. She's beautiful physically and spiritually. She's the golden thread that binds characters together. She represents love and compassion, which is also one such power of her to transform those around her. And we can see this in Sydney Carton's development from Jekyll into a hero and enabling her father to be recalled to life. Lucy Mannet, when the novel opens, she was 17 years old, and only then she discovers that her father exists. Okay, before that she thought that she was an orphan. Okay, as an infant she was carried off by Jarvis Lorry to England, and she grew up in England, and she was raised as a ward of Tellson's Bank. And Lucy Mannet, she is very beautiful physically and spiritually too, and she's the golden thread. In the novel is divided into 3 books or 3 parts, and the second part is called Golden Thread, because Lucy is just like a catalyst. Okay, she's just like a catalyst. She does not change herself, but anything about around her, okay, she becomes the cause of the change. And she is also the golden thread. She binds all the characters together because of her. Okay, because as the central figure, the rest of them are around Lucy, and they do not part, or let's say she is the thread that binds them together. And you see the character development of Sydney Carton. First he was like a Jekyll. He was zero, and then later on, in the end of the novel, he becomes a hero. And this is because of Lucy. Okay, Lucy is, like I told you, she's just like a catalyst. Nothing about herself changed, but she is the cause of the change in others. Coming to next, Monsieur Ernest Defarge. He is the husband of Madame Defarge and owner of a wine shop in Saint Antoine. He formerly worked as a servant for Dr. Mannet. He is fiercely committed to overthrowing tyranny and avenging injustice, so he became a revolutionary leader. He is the husband of Madame Defarge. Okay, he is an example of common people, but he is not blinded by class hatred, just like Madame Defarge. Okay, he retains his conscience, and he has a sense of fairness. So when Madame Defarge tries to pursue Lucy and her daughter and kill them, Monsieur Defarge, he isn't like her. He has no interest in killing them, because he has his own conscience and he has a sense of fairness. Though he is fiercely committed to overthrowing this tyranny and avenging injustice, he isn't nothing like his wife. Okay, now coming to Madame Thérèse Defarge. She is a ruthless wife and ringleader of Saint Antoine female revolutionaries. She's implacable and relentless. She's consumed by the desire for revenge against the aristocratic regime that tortured and killed members of her family. She spends a good deal of the novel knitting a register of everyone who must die for the revolutionary cause. So Madame Defarge, she is the symbol. Okay, she's the symbol of evils brought forth by the revolution, by the French Revolution. And her family, they were all killed by under the hands of aristocratic class. That's why she has hatred for Evremond clan, because Marquis Saint Evremond raped her sister, and even her brother died at the hands of this aristocratic regime. And so that is why she was always in a revenge mode. Of course, to some extent, her character is justified, because even if you and I were also to be placed in Madame Defarge's shoes, then we will not easily forgive those aristocratic class, how they treat and took away the family member of Madame Defarge, right? So he was always on revenge mode, and she spends a good deal of novel knitting. Like, she used to knit the name of a person who must die, okay, for the revolutionary cause. And Madame Defarge, she also developed an intense hatred for this aristocratic class, that as her intense hatred grows day by day, what happened to Madame Defarge? She becomes uncontrollable. Okay, she is the uncontrollable forces of the French Revolution, and in the end also, because of her wanting to kill Lucy Darnay and her daughter, you know what, she fights with Miss Prose, and during the fight, accidentally, she was killed by her own weapon, that is pistol. Now, coming to Jarvis Lorry. He is a fastidious, diplomatic, well-respected businessman and bachelor who works for Tellson's Bank and handles the account of many members of French aristocracy. He takes Dr. Manet's daughter out of France after her father was imprisoned. He remains a close friend of the Manet family and is instrumental in the final rescue of Charles Darnay. Jarvis Lorry, he's a perfectionist, okay, he's a fastidious, he's a perfectionist, and he's very diplomatic in handling business, okay, and you know, he is a bachelor, he never married, and he works for Tellson's Bank, and he handles many accounts of this French aristocracy. And what we have to know about Jarvis Lorry is that he's a symbol of English middle class virtue. Then, you know, he rescued Lucy to safety when her father was arrested, you know, 18 years back. And you know, it was him again who retrieved Dr. Mannet after his 18 years in prison. He stayed loyal to the family and he stayed close to the family. Okay, that is about Jarvis Lorry. Those are major characters. Now coming to the minor characters in the novel. Jerry Cruncher, also known as Jeremiah or Jeremy Cruncher. He is an odd job man for Tellson's Bank who sits outside Tellson's Bank during the day and is a body snatcher by night. What does it mean? It means that, you see, Jeremy Cruncher is a literal symbol for Charles Dickens' theme of what? Resurrection, because he used to resurrect those dead bodies, okay? He is known as a resurrection man. Why? Because he steals fresh corpses, okay, at night. At daytime, he was like a messenger to Tellson's Bank, but during nighttime, what he did was that he used to dig up those corpses from the graveyards, and he delivers those bodies to medical school so the student can study anatomy, and then it's like his second profession, okay, earning money on the side. Now coming to Mrs. Cruncher, Jerry Cruncher's wife, who is often beaten by her husband. She is a devout woman who prays frequently, and for she does not approve of her husband's second profession. She is the wife of Jerry Cruncher, and you know, she's a typical representation of a very religious people, okay. She constantly prays. She always prays, and because of her praying, okay, it brings out the guilt of Jerry Cruncher. So Jerry Cruncher usually beat her, okay. He often beats her, and you know what, though he beats her like that, Mrs. Cruncher never left him, because she's a kind, loyal, but she is not smart at all. The next character is Miss Prose. Miss Prose, she works as a maid for the Manets and has raised Lucy Mannet and accompanies her wherever she goes. She is fierce, loving, and loyal, and accidentally kills Madame Defarge to protect the family. Miss Prose, she is the sister of the English spy, Solomon Prose, also known as John Bursard, okay. She is a stereotypical English woman, okay. She's blunt spoken, she's very nationalistic, she's short tempered, but also she has a good heart and she's devoted to Lucy. That's why, you know, in the end of the novel, when she fights with Madame Defarge, she makes sure that Lucy and her daughter left for England safely. So, you know, she fights and she accidentally kills Madame Defarge in order to protect the family. Marquis Saint-Evremond. He's the uncle of Charles Darnay, a twin brother of Charles' father and a French aristocrat. His character demonstrates the role of aristocracy and its condition in France. You know, his character, this Marquis Saint-Evremond, his character parallels the animalistic evils of Madame Defarge. He is just like Madame Defarge, okay? They both are very evil. And he's the image of uncaring aristocrat of the ancient regime. He's very uncaring, he's very rude, okay. And he's also responsible for the death of the first sister, the death of the rest of her family. And not only that, he even ran over Gaspert's son in his coach, okay, in his carriage or coach. Then what, he's a very rude man. He throws a coin and he says that is the compensation for running over your child. But then later on, what happened, because of his lack of humanity and because of his this predatory nature, Gaspard is the name of that peasant, okay. Gaspard murdered him, he died. And Charles Dickens sometimes considered Marquis Saint every Monday as a tiger because he lacked humanity and he's just like a predator. C.J. Stryver, he is a successful lawyer who is a selfish and ambitious man. He employs Carton and defends Darnley in England. Very funny character, C.S. Stryver. He also falls in love with Lucy Mannet. He courts Lucy briefly, but after Lucy chooses Darnley, the humiliation that he is going to face. In order to prevent that, he pretends and he says to others that he's the one who rejected her and not the other way around, okay. He was a successful lawyer. He was a quasi-law partner of Sidney Carton, but unlike Carton, he's very active and very motivated. John Bursard, he is Miss Prost's brother, and his name is Solomon Prost, though as a spy he's known by John Bursard. At first he was a police spy in England, then later on again he was prison spy in France, and because of him, Carton is able to replace Darnley. Next is Roger Clive, a British spy like John Bursard who claims to be a strong patriot, though he often participates in deceitful schemes. Roger Clive, he is not honest, okay, and he used to be involved in deceitful schemes, like even about himself. He faked his own death in order to avoid persecution in his home country before fleeing to France, okay. He's like John Bursard, he was also a spy, but he often involved in deceitful scheme. He even faked his death. And Jeremy Cruncher, the resurrection man who used to dig up the corpses of the dead, and then who used to sell dead bodies to medical school, he was the one who found that Roger Clive was faking his death, okay. When he dug up inside the coffin, there was nothing but rock, not the body of Roger Clive. Now coming to Theophile Gabriel, the faithful steward of the Evremond family. He gets into trouble after the revolution breaks out. Darnley goes to Paris to help him. Theophile Gabriel, he is the steward of the Evremond family, and he was the one who sent an urgent message to Charles Darnley to come back to France, and he was arrested for handling some business affairs for Darnley, okay. Gaspard, the father of the child who runs over by Marquis' carriage, he takes revenge by murdering the Marquis. So on one occasion, Charles Darnley's uncle, as he was sitting on a couch, and as he ran across the street, his couch happened to run over the child, and this child belongs to Gaspard, and for compensation he throws a coin. That much he looks down upon the peasant, okay. So Gaspard is the peasant, and he is in no mood for forgiving him. Instead, he took revenge by murdering this Marquis. The Vengeance, a bloodthirsty woman who is always at the side of Madame Defarge. She is the grocer's wife, and she is the ultimate company of Madame Defarge, who is always by the side of Madame Defarge, and even her name also carries the meaning, the Vengeance. Then we have Jacques 1, 2, 3. They are revolutionaries who secretly plan the revolution. So this is the characterization of A Tale of Two Cities. At first I was thinking of doing along with the themes, but then the video will be longer and then it will be boring. So we'll do it up to today, and stay tuned for the next video. In the next video we'll discuss the themes of A Tale of Two Cities. Anyway, thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.